old-fashioned presser, so John, you can fire away.
Congratulations on your retirement. How hard of a decision was this for you?
Very. Even though I know it's the right decision ultimately, it's still not easy to know that I'm not going to play football anymore. Like, I kind of had that realization the other night, before, I think that would be Thursday night, I guess. I was like, man, like, I was talking to my wife, like, damn, I'm not going to play football anymore. That's kind of crazy. Been doing it for so long, but I know, I just know where I'm at, health-wise and whatnot, that this is, it's the best thing for me moving forward.
When did you actually reach the decision that you were going to retire?
So I actually came to that decision in the off season of 21, so like spring of 21, going into last season when I was a free agent. Got a not so good medical report, from a couple different doctors about my knee, and but at that time, and actually was kind of encouraged to not play the 21 season, but I wasn't emotionally ready to not play football anymore at that point. So I was like, I'm still going to play. I still think I can. And so that was the plan all along. But then have a good playoff game to finish out last season. That kind of made me feel like, maybe I can still do this and whatnot. And then as I got into training again this summer, like kind of late in June, knee really started bothering me again. And I just was like, you know what, like you got a long life to live, Lord willing, and gotta not play anymore. So I kind of came to it late June.
Ryan, I imagine a lot of thoughts come back to your time here. What are some of the best memories for you that you've thought about over the last few days?
A lot of fun game memories, like when we beat Dallas in 12 to win the division here. In 18 when we beat Dallas at home and I got the forced fumble and Preston Smith picked it up for a touchdown. Getting a pick six my first game, that was awesome. But when I come back here to Redskins Park that I really am like that's why I've loved this place, because it's all the relationships you build over the years with teammates, coaches, the people in the kitchen, the strength staff, you guys. I mean, I've developed a lot of great relationships with you guys, and got to know you guys a little bit outside of your jobs here, and so it's those that have made it that really have made this such a special thing, and a big reason why it's hard, while even that it's hard to walk away, even though I know it's the right thing.
When you walked into the building, I believe it was yesterday, did you have that moment where you maybe saw yourself getting a little bit emotional as you reflect all those memories that you had in this building?
Definitely. That was really cool what Coach Rivera and them did yesterday. Coming out, applauding me when I walked in. It was way more than I thought it would be. I kind of thought I was just going to come in, sign a couple pieces of paper, do a couple interviews, and be on my way. But they really just made me feel so welcome. They to see all my D-line guys standing there and applauding me when I walked in, it meant a lot, and it was really I was at a loss for words. I mean, I kind of looked at my wife. I'm like damn, what do I do now? Like everyone's here, and it was cool. It was a really special moment.
What was the conversation like with the Commanders? To sign a one-day contract and go out as a Washington Commander.
Yeah, it was something that I felt strongly about, and I wanted. This is where my heart is. This is where I started. This is where I unfortunately wasn't able to finish, but yesterday was great, and it really, and like I said, they went above and beyond to make it a special day for me, and we'll remember that day for the rest of our lives.
Hi, Ryan. If it weren't for your knee, do you think you'd still be back out there? Do you still feel mentally like you could play? I do, yeah, and that's what kind of makes it tough, because it's complicated, because I still feel like I can, but not knowing that that's not a guarantee, that's not guaranteed that I would get a roster spot at the end of camp, because that was kind of my plan this offseason, was to kind of just wait throughout training camp, and once rosters start to shake out, hopefully find a good situation. But it without that guarantee to continue to put more stress on my knee and whatnot, it wasn't worth it. And so I had to make a tough decision, and I remember the day I made the decision, I slept really well that night. And so I was like, okay, maybe, look for signs and things. I was like, maybe that's it. Maybe that's, that's the universe telling me that, yeah, you're doing the right thing. You gotta move on. And when you walked in yesterday, I think Chase Young was one of the first people that
Yeah.
came up to you and gave you a hug. What did that mean to you?
It means a lot. I mean, I was, only with Chase 1 year and only with, Coach Rivera and his staff for 1 year. But for them to, receive me like that yesterday made me feel really appreciated and made me feel like, okay, like it was a short time, but it was an impactful and meaningful time. And, so that meant a lot.
What did it mean to come back to a park that obviously you know so well, but to see it be a little different with the Commanders?
It's exciting. It's a new era of football here in Washington, and I'm hoping that means a lot of wins in the future, some playoff wins. Something I unfortunately didn't get to experience here or even last year in Philly. But so I'm just hoping that means good things for the team moving forward, and good thing for the guys in the locker room.
And I know you talked about that knee medical report, but how did you kind of get emotionally ready to walk away?
I mean, I had a long time because, like I said, it had the reports I got were in, I guess that would be May of 21, so more than a year ago. So I knew that last season was gonna be my last season. I kind of told myself okay, you're not playing beyond this. You probably shouldn't be playing now, but let's we're gonna give it one more shot just because you're not ready. You're not emotionally ready. And so I knew I wasn't going to be playing this season. To not be playing this season was the plan all along, and I'm glad I came to the decision when I did because I know that it's the right thing. Can I help you? So it was. I had a long time to prepare. Yeah, there was a couple detours in getting there. Just like I said, playing well in the last game. All right, if I get a little bit of consistent run, I can. All right. She's a spitfire, man. She's Sour Patch Kid. But I had a couple detours along the way. With playing well in the last game. Took a couple months off after the season. It's my body feels nice. And it's I can do this again. It's well, your body feels nice because you haven't trained for football in 2 months. So you gotta kind of acknowledge the truth there. But yeah, so I've had time to prepare for it, even though the ultimate decision wasn't made until late last month.
Because of the name change and everything like that. I mean, when people think of the Redskins and kind of the last great players to come out of it, you're right there. What does that kind of mean to you to represent maybe the end of an era, so to say?
It's really cool. I know this team means a lot to a lot of people, and it's one of the older teams, one of the older franchises in the league, and had a lot of great players come through. And so for people to think of me that way, it's pretty damn cool.
And you're known not just for the sacks on the field, but also your durability throughout your career and all that you put into that. How do you kind of reflect on all that it took just to last 11 years in the NFL and all the work that went into it?
I mean, I definitely look on that with pride. I wanted to be available, and I think that's one of the things I found out along the way is that being available doesn't necessarily mean healthy, and so, which I think is one of the reasons why my knee is the way it is today. But you make the decisions you make, and you live with the results. And but it meant a lot to me, and I think that me being out there, for 139 straight games or whatever, and being ready to play, I think it was a testament to how I felt about the game and how I felt about my approach to it.
With football out of the picture, what are some of the things you're looking forward to being able to do, family-wise and personally?
I mean, I think more than anything, I feel a sense of relief, knowing that it's July and it's Saturday morning. I don't gotta go hit anybody. I don't got Morgan Moses staring at me, getting ready to try to take my head off. That's pretty nice. But I think I'm just excited to I want to stay in football, so I'm excited to find out where football is going to take me next. Coaching is something I want to explore because I just feel like I love the environment too much. I love the football building environment. I love being around the guys too much, and I love being able to impart some of the things I've learned over the past 11 years on people. And that's been one of the cooler things the past 2 years is that being elder statesmen, you guys want to learn. They come up, they're like, hey, what do you see here? What do you see here? What do you do to help you with this? And it's been cool to be able to pass that on to guys. And so that's something I want to explore further. And hopefully, I want to stay in football in some capacity. I think coaching would be a good route.
And what do you think? I mean, there's so many players while you were here, and also since you've left, who have mentioned Kerrigan did this, Kerrigan did that, and it impacted me, or I've followed in his footsteps. What about you do you think made you such a role model, or a guy that other players wanted to follow in various areas?
Well, that means a lot to me to hear guys say that stuff. What's up? What's going on? But I think one of the things that meant a lot to me was this, because I tried to take a consistent approach every day, whether it was week 1, week 17, whether, we were, 3-0 or 0-3, like I tried to, be the same guy. And I think that's ultimately what can allow you to succeed in the NFL is if you have a consistent approach and you stick with it even when it's not convenient. And I think, I hope guys saw me do that, and I hope that was something that could, benefit a lot of guys.
Hey, Ryan, congratulations. I always wondered, for somebody that has established themselves as a top player, what is that like every offseason to kind of have to self-evaluate, self-critique, and get yourself ready for the next season and have to prove it again?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot. And I noticed that the better I felt I played in the previous season, I felt like that would like push me harder the next off season, like kind of like the reverse of what you would think. Like you'd kind of think like if you played well, I'd be like, oh, I'm taking an extra week or day off here. And for me, it was like the better I played, the harder I worked, because I saw the hard work paying off. And so I was like, okay, well, if that worked, I'm going to double down on that and try to get even more out of it. And I think that mentality served me well.
Did you ever have a season where maybe the public perception was you played well, but you thought, I did not have a good season? And what did you do in that offseason?
That's a good one. That's a tough one. I mean, there's definitely plays throughout a season that, where that's the case, where it's like, oh, he got a sack, but maybe his, technique or form wasn't, where I would say, okay, well, I got the sack, but I can do this better to ensure that, if something else happens, I'm ready for that. But, yeah, no, I mean, you just not particularly, no.
Hey, Ryan, congratulations. How weird was it to play for the Eagles after playing so long for this organization in the same division, and then as a result, like when you came back to FedEx, late last year, how emotionally draining, tough on that was that for you, or were you able to just block it out?
It wasn't strange at first, surprisingly, signing with Philly, because I was really trying, I really tried to take an objective approach to free agency, where I was like, okay, where do I feel is going to be best for me? Take all the emotional factors out, take, divisional factors out, and where do you think is going to be best for you? And so it wasn't weird in that sense. But I will say when I first put on, when I saw the number 90 jersey, I just said, it kind of just was it didn't, I mean, it was different. I'll say that. But, yeah, and definitely coming back to FedEx Field, it was awesome. That was one of the biggest perks of being an Eagle, was I was like, okay, I get to play in front of fans at FedEx Field one more time, because my last game at FedEx Field in Washington was, when the playoff game, when there was nobody there. And so that was, a little silver lining of signing with Philly, was getting to play in front of my people here at FedEx Field one more time. So that was awesome.
Right. People have mentioned the name change. What do you think of the new name?
I like it, and I love the helmets too. Initially with the jerseys, I was like, oh, those look all right. But then I saw them in person just a little bit ago. I was like, all right, these are pretty sick. I like these.
The era you played in, what do you want people to look back at the teams you played on for so many years and think of what you guys did for the organization?
I mean, I just want them to think back to, for me personally, I just want them to know that I gave them everything I had, literally everything I had, emotionally, physically, they got all of me, football wise, football was my life. I didn't have a lot of hobbies. I played a little bit of golf in the off season. I got, a wife and 3 daughters, but other than that, it was all about football. It was how's this daily decision going to help me with football? Like, okay, I'm waking up in the morning, I'm eating breakfast. Okay, how's this breakfast going to help me with football? And like, that's how I approached every day of my football career. And so I want fans to know that, like, it meant that much to me that my performance and what I was showing on Sundays was that important to me that it was my driving force in life.
You mentioned that last game at FedEx. After the game, no fans. You came and walked back out on the field. What was that moment like as you were kind of just standing there in the?
Talking about after the Tampa playoff game?
Yeah,
it was definitely emotional. I kind of had a feeling that it was going to be my last one there, and so I just kind of wanted to take it in a little bit and just kind of be by myself a little bit out there. And yeah, it was emotional. It was because I've had such joy here. I've had such joy at FedEx Field throughout my life and throughout my career. And I mean, hell, my wife and I got engagement photos taken at FedEx Field. So we that place means a lot to me, and it always will. And so it was definitely an emotional time.
You mentioned how you would put in more and more work with more success you had, and how everything you did, you approached it with that mindset of how can I get better. Is there a freedom in not having that, and just being able to do whatever you want to do?
Yeah, it's very freeing. Like, I was talking yesterday, and I've talked to my wife about this recently, but like, my diet has always been, I felt like an edge to me. It was something like I always have believed in the effect of your fuel and your food on your performance, and that, I mean, it's good because it served me well, but it was also very consuming. Like, it's like oh gosh, like I don't have access to grilled chicken and rice. Like, what am I, like, if you're traveling, like what am I going to do? And like it's so like that emotional burden is nice to be able to kick, because like, and also like being a guy that played on the line of scrimmage, you gotta like kind of force feed yourself a lot of times to keep on your weight and whatnot. So to now be able to just eat when I'm hungry, not eat when I'm not hungry, like it's kind of nice, right? If I want a beer, I'll have a beer, and like and that's a little bit emotionally freeing, because that was I mean, I was very, I mean, my wife would even get like kind of annoyed sometimes, like dude, it's Friday night in the off season, like it's Friday night in late February, like what do you like? Can't we go eat something fun? But no, that's the biggest thing that I'm excited just to have more, just freedom, I guess, from that. Got some donuts over here. What's that? Perfect. You hear that, girls? They got donuts.
One last one for me. Do you anticipate being here for many of the games? Do you think it's going to be weird watching from the other side?
I don't think it will be. I've had like the NFL Network on most days here, and I watch training camp from all around the league, and I haven't had a feeling yet of like, oh man, like I'm really wanting to be out there. Whereas when I thought in the spring of 21 when I was a free agent and I got a bad medical report and thought I was going to have to retire, I remember watching the draft, and that like was a big trigger for me. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not ready to retire and whatnot. But that feeling now is not here. Like, I watch football and I'm just like, oh cool, I want to see what's going on, see what's happening with these guys.
Have you thought about what hobbies you might want to pick up?
Hobbies?
Yeah.
No, I mean we got 3 under 3 with kids right now, so there are hobbies. There are hobbies right now. I mean you see they're all over the place. So I'll pick up some hobbies maybe when they get a little older. Maybe get on the golf course a little more.
Before you reached your final decision to retire, I know even though like in the spring, did it ever cross your mind that like potentially playing for these guys again with Chase Young hurt or anything like that?
Oh, I definitely, that would have been cool, but at the same time, like I think I knew in the back of my mind that even when I was wishy-washy about whether I wanted to play or not again, I just kind of knew that I wasn't going to play. And yeah, it would have been awesome to come back here and maybe have some closure, but at the same time, yesterday was plenty of great closure. And yeah, it just I knew where the road was leading, and like I said, took a couple detours, but here now.
Is staying in football, albeit coaching or whatever else, is that something you want to do near term, or is that in the distant future?
Yeah, definitely in the near term. I mean, I'm a worker. I like to be busy. I like to I like to work. No, I've been at home for like 5 weeks now because that was kind of when I made the decision, and I think those 4 are ready for me to be out of the house a little bit. So, but no, yeah, I definitely want to get to something because I love football too much. I just love football too much to not be involved in it in any capacity, and so that's what I'm hoping to do.
Would that include like the college ranks, or would you like to stay in the NFL? What do you?
Yeah, I mean, college would be cool. I think that would probably be like the most satisfying age group to coach because it's like, okay, they're here, so they got a great skill set, but there's still room to grow. So that would be fun. But I mean, I think hopefully being in the NFL, I think would be, I think that would be ideal.
Anything else? All right. Thanks, Ryan.
I just want to thank you guys. You guys developed a lot of great relationships with a lot of you guys over the years, and I'm bummed that our last season together in the COVID year we didn't get the same kind of banter in the locker room and whatnot. John, I didn't get to talk about Ohio State with you, and they're looking good, by the way. But yeah, but you guys were always great to me, and I've really enjoyed our relationships and friendships over the years. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.